But on policy BBFE, school board member of ethics, I'm guessing that's like, is that an oath or something that you guys have to take?
When we become school board members, we take an oath of office.
Okay. Because it just seems to be so much discussion about food for like the adults, and in your ethics thing it says you guys must recite it to yourselves, or I don't know how you sign and whatever, but it says, remember that my first and greatest concern must be for the educational welfare of the students attending the public school. And I just don't understand why we're a school in need and there's so many more other important things to do than worry about the food we're feeding teachers.
I think it was food allergies, right?
We have a food.
No,
we have a wellness.
Teachers,
we have a wellness policy at the school.
Wellness
not
policy.
For the teachers.
No, there's a wellness policy, and there's certain foods that you cannot have. I was always raised that you don't sit and eat in front of other people. It's rude. And I don't think it's correct to be out there serving a buffet-style luncheon to the teachers that the kids are going to walk back and forth by to the cafeteria and eat a corn dog.
But they don't. They go and eat their lunch. It's one day a year.
All we asked was that it be in the teacher's lounge, not
allowed
out
in the teacher's lounge.
in the public.
We're not allowed in the teacher's lounge. So
How about the modular? That's a good place.
Can you go in the modular?
It's an empty one. We have an empty modular.
That would be great.
It'd
We'll
be
do
perfect
that.
place.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
That's what
But
was.
all you
That's
guys,
what was
you
suggested.
just have to come to us. You can't just keep saying stuff like, you know, it shouldn't be in front of the kids. I mean, nothing's fair. I mean, adults do things that kids don't do. My father used to eat lobster when I was sleeping. That's not fair either. But you know, what do you do? There's nothing you can do about that. The world's not fair. It's one day a week. I don't think it's going, oh, kids, guess what? You know, you can't have this because we're doing it for the teachers, haha.
We simply ask that it be in the teacher's lounge, or it be put in the modular, or an area of the school that the kids are not going to be walking back and forth by.
But nobody asked us.
It was given to administration.
There's a wellness policy that needs to be followed.
We can't talk to you, well, we don't talk to you directly. We let the principal know she's in charge of the building. We let the principal know that this is what we'd like done. And there are reasons behind it, we just don't do it because we don't like the PTA. I mean, that's not a reason at all.
Obviously, the principal's
So we let the principal know what our feelings are according to policy, and then the principal is to let you know. So it's not like us talking to you. It has to go through the chain. It has to go through the principal.
I think it would be a great thing for the kids to see the teachers being appreciated. You know what I mean?
That'd
like,
be nice.
You know, I'm sure kids would ask, you know, oh, what are they doing?
They know.
Tricia told me today that deliveries would be before school or after school and wouldn't interrupt any classes.
Right, and they never have.
That the root beer floats that you were going to pass out in the afternoon would be at a teacher's meeting rather than with children in the classroom.
Right, and we wouldn't have to do that with the kids in the classroom. We would do it before school starts. So
No, I'm talking about the root beer floats. She said that would.
Or in the afternoon. We wouldn't do it during school. We would never interrupt the classroom. We never have, ever, in 9 years. So I don't know why it's such a concern now. We've been under the radar for 9 years all of a sudden, and now we're like, woo, you know, let's see what PTA is doing. I just don't get it.
Okay, anything else?
I was just curious, is the school board meetings that are 2 times a month the only opportunity for the PTA to come in and discuss issues with you, or?
They could ask to be put on the agenda as a.
They're on the agenda every
They're on the
meeting.
agenda of every meeting, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we haven't had any
folks-
Not to talk to them, just to give you an update on what we're doing.
Right.
It's just a liaison type of thing. But we don't have to do that anymore.
Do you ever send representatives of the school board to the PTA
Yeah.
meeting?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's another
I've
opportunity or
been
2
there,
a month? Okay. Because it sounds to me like PTA, school board definitely needs to communicate
Well,
more
when I went to
often.
the PTA meeting, there was an infighting about this whole thing, what was said the night of that meeting. So I said, stop fighting, I'll just go home and I'll transcribe from the DVD what was said, and then you guys will have it and you'll know exactly what it was. So I read it that night, immediately Sandy said, that's wrong. That's not what was said.
Right,
I
'cause
said, I
would've
took
never
it.
ever said something.
Excuse
I
me,
would've never
excuse
seen
me.
that part.
Immediately said, that's wrong. And I said, it's taken directly from the DVD. She said, well, it's wrong. So she evidently went to the DVD and found something else. I'm gonna have to go back to it and see if I missed something.
If I can I explain that whole, I mean, everyone's
It's
talking
crazy.
about what I said. Can I explain?
Sure.
Okay. Quite a long time ago, were required by law to write a new bullying policy. We had to have a member of a parent or a member of the public, which Viv actually was that member. And it was 3 or 4 meetings. It took quite a while to write this bullying policy. And part of the policy was that there needed to be staff training and there needed to be student training, student programs that needed to be put in place. And the policy committee asked if the administration, if they would like the policy committee to help work on getting those student programs and teacher programs in place. And we were told, no, the administration has it. We'll take care of it. Well, part of the policy required by law was teacher training, which took place the first 2 days before school starts. The other part was student training. And there needed to be a universal symbol and there was supposed to be a group of children formed as I don't want to call it a club, but a
Council.
Kind of like the student council, but it was supposed to be strictly for bullying, not Rachel's Challenge, but a separate program for bullying. And the kids were supposed to get together and they were supposed to come up with a universal symbol that they could use to let an adult know if there was a bullying situation going on. And there was supposed to be some training and some programs come into the school to help with this whole bullying initiative. And the school had the Tiger program come in. For 2 years, the Tiger program came in. Viv came to the school board meeting and had requested that we allow Ooch World to come to the school to present a bullying program. And she told us all about the program and everything. And one of the things that she said was, they'll talk about a universal symbol. Which made me think, well, wait a minute, we've already supposed to have done that. That was all part of the bullying policy. That was all supposed to be out of the rollout program for the students. And I asked the question at that meeting. And I was told, oh yes, we had a club that was doing that and it was all in place and they met at lunch. Fine, that was fine. At the next meeting, in between meetings, I found out that that was not true. There was not a group meeting at lunch, that no universal symbol had been talked about, or the kids had not done any of what they were supposed to do according to the policy. And I brought that up and I simply said, if it hadn't been for the PTA bringing the Ooch World program in front of us, we never would have known that. All it did was prompt my memory that this was supposed to have taken place. Now you can sit there and shake your head as much as you want, but I know what I did and I know what was in my head, and you can't tell me what I was thinking.
No, it's what you said. And it's in the DVD. So if you look at the DVD.
I will be happy to look at the DVD, but the whole purpose of the whole thing was I simply thanked the PTA for bringing forward the program, because the school board never would have been aware that what was supposed to have already happened in the school had not happened.
Well, first of all, it did
PTA representative.
So
PTA
that's
representative is not just to come and say, oh, the PTA is doing this program, PTA is not. They're not coming to tell you problems that PTA has.
She doesn't listen.
No, I do listen.
all it did was prompt my memory to something that was supposed to be done.
And that's
And I
what-
thanked
but it
them
did
for
get done.
reminding me.
It did get done because my daughter was part of that program during lunch.
That was Rachel's
No,
challenge. That was.
that's the program that they Deb put on separately. It was a little play, 2 little plays that they did.
That took
That's-
place
During
within the 2-week period of when we were told it was happening, and when we asked why it wasn't happening is when the little play took place.
Well,
Just
all
to
I'm
make
saying
sure
is-
it's on this film, the PTA, and I representing the PTA, so I'm gonna speak for myself. I did represent the PTA, and as I did in every meeting. Not once did we ever say that the school was deficient, nor that they didn't do their job, or that they didn't implement any program. So we didn't insinuate it, we didn't bring it forward as a PTA. We simply were happy with the program that Sandy was there too, with the state PTA convention we went to. We witnessed what the program that they put on. It was a lot of fun, and we thought it would be great for the school.
Okay,
And it was a wonderful program. I
And it was.
actually
It
went
was
and
fun.
saw it in place.
Was
I
there
saw the
universal
older
symbol?
kids.
What was
can
the
I ask
universal symbol?
Ralph if you could maybe go on to something different, because I'm sure everybody's bored with the whole PTA situation
Well,
right now.
In this, let's finish it, because in this,
Finish what?
this is, I understand, and I know what
It's
you're
all
saying,
this
but
is
this is
bickering
where I
back
don't
and
want
forth.
you to sidetrack. This is a group where the questions, if she's done, then God bless you. I mean, I don't see any problems either. I think it should be ended. If you're all done, then
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
So thank you, Charlie.
well, let me clarify that, because this group was formed to be able to speak.
Yep.
Honestly, and I grant you for what you do, believe me, I do. All I just want you to know is, don't sidetrack it, because this is what we want you to understand, is that if we got something to speak, listen to it. It may not be what you want to hear, and that's why you'll be able
That's why I
to,
wanted to explain
and that's
what
good,
took
and I'm glad
place.
you did.
I think the whole situation, everybody's had their chance.
understand.
If we continue to talk, it's going to be reiterating what was already said.
I
So
understand.
that's why I'm asking to
I
progress.
understand. You're very good.
Well, do we have any other questions?
I don't have a question.
Okay.
I have something I want to say. I finally found out how I can sneak a drink into a place. Anyway, what you see here in front of me, aluminum tabs off of aluminum cans. I'm a Shriner, and so is my buddy beside me. And what these tabs are for, I brought this up before. We sell these tabs to the junkyard. They're pure aluminum. And every single cent that the Shriners get from these tabs goes to the Shriners Children's Hospitals to help them. And not one single cent comes to us. It goes right to the hospital.
You think we should do should we do a
There you
tab?
go.
Should we do a tab drive in the future?
You know what? Hard to believe, but that little tab, when you get a can like, a container like this and one like this full of them, you'd be surprised how many pounds they add up to. And they,
We should do that at school, save tabs.
you know, like I said, I just recently we have one person in the Shrine Club that I belong to, and all he does is takes care of these tabs and make sure that there's no metal in there or anything else. And then he takes them and sells them, and we get the money, and it goes to the Shrine Hospital.
I think you're doing a good
It's just
job.
amazing that just recently I gave 350 pounds of these tabs to him. But I went up north one time to
Oh,
look.
Pepsi
Yeah,
cans.
you got one.
No, I didn't drink them.
Mountain Dew, Mountain Dew.
We'll tell you another one.
Anyway,
We did
went
the
up
box
north,
tops. Put that for box
and
tops.
what's the name of that club? Good Sam Club or something, the Travelers there, campus. 1,350 pounds they collect for us
Wow.
almost every year.
Wow.
That's a lot of tabs.
Hey, Alan,
There's one drunk campground.
What's that, Snuggle? Yeah, this is Snuggle.
So it smells good.
Thunder Gospel Ribbon.
Another question for the school board.
That's probably what it's full
Thank
of.
you.
Yes, thank you. Keep up the good work, Al. I have one more question, or maybe at least one more question for the school board.
Do you go into non-public session at every meeting or no?
Pretty much we do. Usually there's some kind of thing to deal with. There are nights that we haven't, but most of the time we do. We'd rather go home and go to bed.
It's usually a parent issue or a personnel
Student
issue.
Yeah. It's usually personnel.
Or student.
Don't forget to save your tabs.
Okay, any other questions for the school board? Ed?
Do you feel as a board that there's enough parent participation?
No.
Is it very lacking, somewhat lacking, or extremely lacking?
I'd say very, but.
Numbers-wise, how many parents should actually show up in the meetings where you would feel there was full participation?
At a school board meeting?
Oh, at a school board
I don't think
meeting?
that's necessary. I'd rather have them show up at things going on at school, like curriculum fairs and that kind of thing, and be in touch with the teachers on whatever weekly basis to see if their kid needs more help in this area or that kind of thing.
So during student-parent conferencing and stuff, they do show up?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think all in all, we have a great community of participation. I mean, granted, I'd like to see a lot more
Volunteers.
volunteers, or maybe the behavior thing might be a little at home kind of thing, but I think all in all, we should rank at a good, I mean, I see a lot of parents that actually participate in a lot of these kids' functions, and
Yeah.
I think the parents try to participate in the sports and the school activities, but it's a different world today that both parents are working.
That's sad.
When we grew up, that wasn't the case. We usually had a parent at home. And today, both parents are working, and they're coming home from work, and then they're having to take care of things at home and take care of the kids, and then run out to a school function or a sports function, and it's a different world today.
I think the economy parents are working 2 jobs too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're working so much more than they used to have to, just to try to
It's
maintain.
unfortunate, but
Yeah. Well,
Ralph, Liz is,
The question was asked, what one thing could you people do that would make our life easier? And the answer was something like, stop the rumors. You can stop the rumors. When someone at the school says, the school board said you can't do that, you don't run up the hall to a friend or a parent or a teacher and say, do you know that the school board said? When you hear something about the school board, would you please call up the chairman of the school board and say, did you really say my child could only wear green clothes? And she would say, no, we absolutely did not. Don't talk it all over the town, and it becomes a collection of the strangest stories that we have had nothing to do with. And we're the last to hear this tale, and it's so convoluted we can't believe we're living in the same town.
Well, I come
So-
to the meetings, and whatever I say, it's what I hear. So it's not from, I don't spread rumors. If
But
I say something
whatever you
that's
hear,
like
you
I
ask the
sometimes
school
saw.
board chairman, is this really true what I heard?
I don't have to, like, I was there.
you come to what, half a dozen meeting stops? Have you been there that long?
I've been like every single meeting. Last month was the last one, the last meeting, that's the only one I haven't gone to.
I've been,
And I watch them all on TV too.
I've been accused of more things in the last 2 years, and it's like,
Join my club.
I did what? It's crazy. It's the school board. No matter what happens at the school board's blamed for it, and it just.
I think the one thing that I've heard a number of times is when policies are made and set, and it doesn't just apply to the school board or the administration, it should be applied to any sort of form of government anywhere. If you're going to make a rule and you're going to enforce that rule on anybody under you, you really need to live by that rule yourselves. And I think that in the future, everybody's going to take strides to make sure that that happens, because the leadership, the people at the top, are what everybody's watching. And if you set a bad example, everybody kind of grumbles and mumbles about that. But if you set a good example, more people would work towards the end of being a better participant.
Are you suggesting that we have set a bad example?
No, what I hope to say is that sometimes the policies escape the action. Sometimes policy is interpreted. I mean, okay, let's take the rule or the chain of command policy. Is there a chain of command
There is,
policy?
yes.
Okay, so I think at the last school board meeting I attended to, we were talking about rumblings, and at the school board level, you folks, were trying to address the situation. And using the word rumblings, I'm sitting over there in my little, should have had my dunce cap on in my corner, thinking, well, who's rumbling to the school board? And I may have brought it up.
You did, yeah.
If a teacher is grumbling about lack of supplies, they need to be going to the principal.
Absolutely.
And then it goes to the
That's where they're
school-
directed.
well, then it goes to the superintendent, and then it goes to the school board,
Correct.
if it's not addressed. But it seemed to me like the teacher was grumbling, 2 steps were jumped, and we were addressing it at the school board level. So that's what I just witnessed with my own 2 eyes, and it led me to believe that perhaps that policy wasn't being adhered to by the top.
That was,
top.
the teacher was told to address it with the principal, if not happy, address it with the superintendent. The issue I was bringing up was that there was still supply money left over. It was a budgetary issue.
Yeah.
There was still supply money left over, and there were teachers asking for things that supposedly there wasn't any money left over. And I was just making clear that there was supply money left in the budget, and they should be asking if they need supplies. We shouldn't be, the kids should have the supplies they need
I agree
to
with
do
that.
what they need to do in class, in experiments, and we just invested a lot of money in a science program. And it's very frustrating to hear that they don't have the materials they need to do the experiments in the classroom. So
I agree with that position, you know, and I would, if I was the principal, I would make sure that the teacher complaining about the lack of supplies, as the principal, I'd be granting that request, whatever it had to do to make sure that teacher was no longer grumbling. Certainly if I was the superintendent and got to my level, then I'd do everything I could. It just, all I was trying to say is, from what
and when
I-
that doesn't happen, then it becomes a school board issue, right?
Right, but it didn't seem to be happening through the principal, through the superintendent first. It seemed to,
yeah,
so,
that-
okay, so I just, what I witnessed is
Oh,
what I
you're
based
talking
my
about other
judgment
people
on.
coming to us okay, I got you now. Now I get you. I see what you're saying, yeah.
So that
But we
was
always
the-
direct them to the principal, and like she said, they don't always come to me, we can't make them go to her, so.
Well, if you make them follow policy, you will make them go to the
We
principal.
can't hold their hand and say, you talk to the principal.
This particular issue, they had gone to them.
Okay, all right, so that's,
They
I
go
mean,
to the
that's,
principal, and then they go to the superintendent, and they are told by the superintendent to go back to the principal, and not allowed to go to the school board. That's an issue also.
Common
Well,
sense should tell anybody that you are always allowed to go to the school board.
Right.
We're just citizens, we're citizens all together.
That is common sense, but I've heard that that's against policy.
Was that a rumor that you heard? Did you come to the school board chairman and say, is this the truth?
It was something having to do with the labor union and the contract of labor union.
See, didn't come to us.
Well, the thing that a lot of parents don't understand, and they think that if they go to the principal and they don't get the results that they're looking for, they think that they're basically stuck and they have nowhere to go. And I think if nothing else, we need to educate parents. And that is that if you're not getting the results that you need to ensure that your child is getting the education, then for whatever reason, you go to the principal and you don't get what you want, then you go to the superintendent. That is the chain of command. And if you don't get what you need at that level, then you need to come in front of the school board. I think so many parents assume that we know everything. And when you're on this level, a lot of things go to the principal and superintendent, and then that's as far as they go. They may be resolved. Maybe it is policy and and that's where it ends. But you always have the right to come in front of the school board, and you should. If there's something concerning you, you absolutely should.
All you have to do is call me and I'll put you on the agenda.
but should it be a right to ignore every other part of that chain?
Absolutely not.
No.
The thing
Yeah,
about it is, when they come
No.
to us, we might well say, what you're saying to us is very interesting, but please go to the principal.
And-
Then the
and-
superintendent, then come back to us.
it would be more important to apply that to teachers as opposed to parents, wouldn't it? I mean, if somebody in the system who's supposed to know the policies and procedures and is basically directed by the principal and the superintendent and the school board to follow this chain of command, it should never be, or should it be a teacher that's jumping the chain of command going directly to the school board? And I hear you say that that wasn't the case, and so.
But parents have to follow the chain of command too. I've had parents call me and say, I'd like to come to the school board. Have you talked to the principal? Yes. Were you satisfied with their answer? No. Did you talk to the superintendent? Were you satisfied with the answer? No. I'll put you on the agenda. What's a good day? So that's.
When they call to be put on the agenda,
I
Priscilla
always
asked them.
ask if they've talked to each person. First I say, have you talked to the teacher if it's a teacher issue? Because it starts with the teachers.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of curious. I think you four did a wonderful job, but I haven't heard a thing from Steve, and that's kind of surprising to me because.
Trust me, that's not normal.
I'm kind of wondering what is it that you might be thinking, and if you'd like to address anything at all, because I find it tremendously tiring here to listen to you say nothing.
Is that what you were smiling about?
That's kind of what I'm smiling about.
I don't know. What do you have something in?
No, just kind of curious. What's kept you so quiet?
He's turned into a gentleman.
It's not a bad thing, and I'm not saying that. I'm just kind of curious.
When there's a subject he's passionate about, trust me, he's not quiet.
Oh, we know.
He's been a real aid to the board, though, because
Yeah, exactly.
going into non-public, he makes sure I don't forget to state the RSA and the reason for it. And so that's a good thing.
Yeah, they're learning the RSAs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's keeping us on the right track.
They're learning the
I think
RSAs.
it's great that he's on the building committee. I didn't have to go up on top of the roof and look at it. He very nicely took the pictures. I have been up on top of that roof.
That was nice. We could see the
several
roof.
years ago.
But also having a better understanding
But yeah,
of the building.
he's been very helpful on the building committee. As soon as he got on the board, we toured the building, and I think he's got some ideas that
Well, I
are going
think
to be helpful.
as a new community resident, instead of sitting up there in the front, I'd like to thank you myself for coming. I think it was very, very.
Appreciate that very much.
Thank you. So is that communication a little better?
That communication, I think we should do it every night.
Thank you.
Every night?